Ada was known by everyone at Lagos General Hospital. She was beautiful, kind, and full of life. Her smile could calm even the sickest patients. She loved her job. She would always say, a nurse must have two things, a soft heart and strong hands. Patients loved her. Old people prayed for her. Even babies would stop crying when she carried them. But not everyone liked Ada. Nurse Cynthia, her colleague, was jealous. Cynthia was older, but patients always asked for Ada. Even doctors trusted Ada more. This made Cynthia angry. One evening in the break room, Cynthia said to other nurses, "She thinks she is better than all of us. Let her shine. Her lights will soon go off." Nobody knew what she meant, but soon her words came true. It was a rainy Thursday night. Power was flickering. Only emergency lights were on. Ada was on a night duty in the maternity ward. There were two pregnant women and a sick newborn baby. She moved from bed to bed, smiling and singing softly. Around midnight, she heard footsteps behind her. She turned. It was Cynthia. "Oh, you're still here?" Ada asked, surprised. Cynthia smiled. "Yes, I forgot something in the locker." But she didn't forget anything. As Ada turned back to write in her file, Cynthia picked up a syringe. She moved quietly behind her. Ada didn't hear anything. Suddenly, Ada screamed, but the ward was far from the nurse's station. Cynthia stabbed her again, this time in the neck. Blood splashed on the white floor. Ada fell, eyes open, mouth shaking, blood everywhere. Her last words were, "Why, Cynthia? Why?" Cynthia bent down, wiped the syringe and whispered, "Because you were too perfect." Then she ran. Ada died alone in the cold world, but her soul didn't rest. 2 weeks later, things started happening. Nurses complained of hearing footsteps in empty hallways. Lights would flick when nobody was touching the switches. One nurse said, "I saw Ada's reflection in the mirror. I turned, nobody was there." Another said, "I was giving injection to a patient. I turned for 1 sec. The tray was on the floor, and I heard someone breathing behind me." Babies started crying at midnight, every night. One baby was found with scratches on her back. Doctors laughed it out. They said it was stress. But then, things got worse. It was another night shift. Nurse Temi was in the delivery room. She was alone. Suddenly, the lights went off. She tried to use her phone touch. Then she heard it. "Temi," a cold whisper. She turned fast. Nobody was there. She started running, but the hallway stretched longer than usual. The walls were wet. The lights went flickering red. Then she saw her, Ada, dressed in her white uniform soaked in blood, eyes black, lips dark, floating above the ground. Temi screamed and fainted. By the next morning, Temi resigned. She left Lagos. Nobody ever saw her again. A young mother delivered a baby boy, strong and healthy. The mother said, "Thank God, I prayed Ada will help me from heaven." But that night, the baby started crying loudly. Esther rushed in. The baby was gasping and struggling. Esther carried the baby, then froze. She saw Ada standing by the window staring. Suddenly, the baby stopped breathing. The mother woke up screaming, "Give me my baby! Give me my baby!" But it was too late. Doctors called it sudden infant death. But Esther knew the truth. After 3 months abroad, Cynthia returned. She thought everything had passed, but the hospital was different. Silent, cold, darker than before. Everyone avoided her. She laughed it off. Fear people, she said. But that same night, she saw Ada. In the mirror, in the hallway, in her dreams, Ada was following her. One night, Cynthia went mad. She ran into the street shouting, "Ada, leave me alone. I am sorry. I am sorry." She tore her clothes and ran into the lagoon. They never found her body. Today, Lagos General Hospital still stands, but the maternity ward is always cold. Some say if you listen carefully at midnight, you will hear crying of babies and of Ada. A new nurse once asked, "Who is this Ada people kept mentioning?" An old nurse replied, "Don't ask questions you are not ready to answer." Now, nurses place a white flower beside every newborn baby's bed, hoping Ada will pass by without touching the child. Some patients see her walking in the hallway. Doctors still hear their names whispered in the dark, and when the lights flicks, they says she's watching. In Lagos General, one ghost never left, not because she was wicked, but because she was betrayed. So when next you visit a hospital and you feel cold wind pass you, and the lights blink once, and a baby cries at midnight, pray, because Ada might be near. After 2 years of Ada's death, Lagos General Hospital got a new administrator, a young man named Mr. Kelvin. He came with fresh ideas. The hospital will be clean, modern, and peaceful again, he told the staff. He didn't believe in ghosts. All these stories about spirits, superstition, let's focus on saving lives. He ordered renovations. The maternity ward was repainted. New nurses were hired. Security lights were installed. But some things paint cannot cover. One night, a new nurse named Grace was on duty in the baby ward. It was her first week. She was checking the babies when she saw something strange. A single drop of blood in one of the cribs. She looked inside. The baby was sleeping, but there were red fingerprints on the blanket. She gasped. She turned to call another nurse, but saw no one. Then she heard it, a soft lullaby, being sung in whisper. "Sleep, my baby, sleep, sleep, before she comes." Grace ran out screaming. One doctor, Dr. Adebayo, was a spiritual man. He heard the rumors and decided to pray one night before his shift. He came to work holding a Bible. We must not fear flesh and blood, but spiritual wickedness in high places, he told the nurses. At midnight, he walked into the empty maternity ward, praying. In the name of Jesus, the lights went off. The pages of his Bible flipped by themselves. Then whispered, "You were not here when I needed help." The bed beside him moved. The drawers opened. His stethoscope flew across the room. Then she appeared, Ada, her white uniform soaked in blood, her face calm, but her eyes burning with sadness. She didn't attack him. She just stood and stared. Dr. Adeboye fainted. It started slowly. One baby disappeared during a shift change. The another vanished from a locked crib. Parents cried. Nurses were blamed. Mr. Kevin ordered investigation. CCTV was installed in the wards. But what the footage showed was chilling. The camera would shake. The screen would go static Then the crib would be empty. No one entered, no one left, just silence. And then a whisper through the speakers. You let me die alone. Now I take what you love most. You let me die alone. Now I take what you love most. There was one man in the hospital who has been there for 30 years. Old Musa, the janitor. He walked with a limp and never talked much. But one day, he called Nurse Esther aside. You people think this is just Ada's ghost. But what died that night was more than just her body. He explained that Ada came from a long line of midwives, women gifted with the power to help babies cross into life and death. They called them Umuwani, spirit bearers. Musa warned, she wasn't just a nurse, she was chosen. And when she was killed, her power twisted with pain. Now she's stuck between healer and destroyer. The hospital staffs heard about the coming blood moon. Some called in sick, others fasted and prayed, but 3 nurses stayed: Grace, Esther, and a new boy called Daniel. That night, all lights failed. Patients screamed. All the newborn babies started crying at once, loud and sharp, like alarm bells. Daniel rushed into the ward and saw every crib empty. He froze. Then, one by one, babies appeared behind him, floating, silent, pale. And behind them was Ada. Her face was calm, but her hands were red with blood. She looked at Daniel and whispered, Do you know what it means to die alone? While babies cry and no one helps? He ran. Esther remembered something. Ada's mother was still alive, a retired midwife in her village. They found her in the east, old, blind, but still sharp. She told them Ada's spirit can't rest because her last duty, protecting those babies, was unfinished. Her soul is trapped in the world. She gave Esther an old calabash and herbs, and a warning. You must place this under the full moon, in the same spot she died, and you must speak her truth. That night, Esther and Grace entered the maternity ward. It was dark, cold. They placed the calabash on the floor. They lighted the herbs, and Esther spoke. Ada, you were betrayed. We speak your name. We honored your love for life. Rest now, nurse of the spirit. Then silence. Then the walls shook. All the hospital windows shattered. Ada appeared, surrounded by ghost babies. She looked softer, her eyes full of tears. She walked to Esther and whispered, Thank you. Then she disappeared. The babies vanished too. Light returned, and for the first time in months, no baby cried that night. Lagos General Hospital became peaceful again. The maternity ward was blessed. Nurses placed fresh white flowers in the corner Ada died. A photo of her now hangs on the wall. Nurse Ada, protector of children. Some said her spirit has moved on. Others says she still walks quietly through the halls, smiling when a baby takes their first breath. But one thing is sure, no one dares speak ill of her, not anymore. When the dead died with pain in their hearts, their spirits may not rest. But when truth is spoken, even the angriest ghost can finally sleep.